I think Rocastle had a chance in the first half, and the surge, because everybody thought he'd score. He went through and go, everyone thought he'd score. The surge.
And he's got Rocastle in support. A lovely ball played by Groves for Rocastle. And he's made sure this time.
I was like one of a few, actually, growing up in South London. I was one of a few Arsenal supporters around our way. And, you know, we spent a lot of time like taking a lot of flack from Liverpool fans, because obviously they were the dominant team back then. And after ¡89 and going on forward, we started to, we started to assert our dominance, and I could banter with them on a level playing field. Going on from there, just over the years, it seems to be Arsenal's become more and more popular, much more popular over the years, especially going in South London. I mean, back in those days, South London, I don't remember there being too many Arsenal fans actually. He lived up the road, he come from up the road in Brockley. I was living in Brixton, Lambeth, and just because obviously I followed him since Crystal Palace days. So, to see him playing for Arsenal, coming from where we came from, and Rocky as well, coming from South London. Michael Thomas came from Lambeth. There's loads of boys actually that came through the South London to Arsenal, and just seeing guys like that just inspired you. It was unbelievable, it was brilliant, My first experience of Arsenal was in primary school. Kenny Sampson came to my primary school and did a talk. His sister was a dinner lady there, and that was the first footballer I'd ever seen, met, and I was just entranced. It didn't really, at that point I was still, still between Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Forest were a good team at that point, so I hadn't really made my allegiances. And then I think it was about 90, it was 88 semi-final, Littlewoods Cup, Arsenal, Everton, second leg. My older cousin had got me a ticket for the second leg at Highbury. We went over to Highbury. My only ever experience in the North Bank at that stage. And I think we won 3-1, Rocastle, Thomas and somebody else, I can't remember, but that was my first game at Highbury. And that was my first experience of Arsenal, and I loved it.
The flag has stayed down. And he hits it straight at the keeper. Oh, and a great shot there by Smith. That makes it absolutely safe for Arsenal.
Getting the burgers down by the Avenel roadside, coming down from Arsenal Station. The smells, just the people, the amount of people that used to be on, especially on a midweek night, midweek game. Just the heightened sense of atmosphere. And I remember the first game, the Everton game, just being so nervous, excitement, coming up with my older cousin and his people, his friends and whatnot, and going through the gates of turnstiles and then walking up the steps, and then these bright lights just hitting me, and then just breathing it in, and then looking at the surrounding, seeing the lush green turf, and then just people. I'd never been in a crowd of that many people. It must have been about, 55, 60, I don't know how many people were there, 55, 60,000 people in that ground or something like that. It felt like that anyway.
In all your time going to Highbury, was this the best game you went to?
Maybe Juve 2-0. Yeah, I think that's his first time back, I think, to Highbury since he'd left or whatever. Fabregas was in the team, and I think he was about 17 at that time or whatever, and it was just, everyone was looking forward to it. And then just watching him school Vieira. It was funny, it was kind of bittersweet, because obviously, we had this new prince in town, and then obviously you had the legend in Vieira. Fabregas done him, and I think Perez done him as well that night as well. I've gotten used to the fact that it's no longer home. I've gotten used to the fact that Highbury is a house, is our house now. I love going to Emirates. I love going to Emirates. The anticipation, meeting up with the boys before the game, putting the world to rights, or the Arsenal world to rights before the game, walking up past the roundabout, just that tension, that nervous tension before the game and whatnot, the banter before the game, as the game kicks off, or after the end of the game is a different story. But I enjoy it. The first game of the season is always the best. First home game of the season is always the best time. Always the best time. Great feeling, walking up to the Emirates. I suppose I took it for granted back then because you just thought that that was the way it was going to be forever and ever. But over the ensuing years, you start to cherish that team, what Wenger built, how they played, certain characters. You read books, you see videos, and it all kind of brings the memories flooding back. Yeah, I feel I was very privileged, and also obviously with what's been happening since, we've not won a league title since. We've hardly been close ever since. Wenger's, I suppose, with the influx of financial doping, as he likes to call it, and other clubs coming into it, and the changing face of football, it's been a lot more difficult. But yeah, I mean, that season, that team was it was one of a kind. It was a one-off. Maybe I'm an old cynic, but at present, I don't think we've done as much as we should have done over the summer. We've got Lacazette, we've got Kolasinac, two very good signings, but as last season has shown, there's still underlying problems, issues within the teams, the setup that people sort of overlook because we went on that run with the new system. People seem to think that things are looking on the up. They are, but the underlying numbers, if you look at them, suggest that it's an unsustainable trend. So we have to, in my eyes, bring in players that can help us in terms of playing not only on the ball but off the ball. Screening, shielding. We need a CM, a central midfielder, to do three jobs. A three-way central midfielder who's good defensively, positionally, box to box, a goal threat, on the ball, not just a destroyer but a builder. We're a powerhouse on the balance sheet, not on the field. And those two are two separate entities. I think we have to manage our expectations, to be honest with you. We don't, even though we've got money in the bank, we don't seem to use it as effectively as we could. Wenger and the board seem to feel that we keep our money, we keep the powder dry until somebody special comes along. But the plain fact of the matter is, being in the Europa League means that even though we've got the money, we can't actually attract the best players anymore. We just can't attract the top talent, and that means we'll be fighting around that within that top four sort of position rather than challenging for the title. I never say I deserve or we have a right to win the title, but to challenge for the title, sustained, concerted effort to challenge for the title, I think is beyond us. And like I say, we're a European powerhouse on paper. In reality and on the field, we're not. What it takes to change, whether it takes Wenger changing or Wenger leaving and somebody younger and with more modern ideas coming in, or a new owner or new investment, I don't know, but it will be a success. It will be a success. Things change. I wouldn't like to say this on camera, but I've got a daughter, but there's been times where I thought, do I spend time with my daughter or do I go to the Arsenal? Obviously my daughter wins, but not by much.